All right, guys, so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a strategy that I use to find some forgotten altcoin gems, which hopefully are going to do very, very well in 2022. Now, the reason I wanted to make this video is at the moment, at the time of making this video, the markets are in, shall we say, a very precarious situation, and we're not clear about which direction they're going to go from here. Now, over the past few months, we have all been pretty certain or confident that the markets were going to go a lot higher. Instead, we've dumped quite hard. It's been a considerable dump so far, but that doesn't mean it's over. So it's important to consider your investment strategy. And that's why I wanted to share with you a strategy that I use to find some coins that hopefully will do very, very well next year. So I'm not telling you to buy any of these coins. I'm not even going to go into too much detail about any particular coin. I want you guys to recognize the strategy as something that you can use at any time, whether the market's like it is at the moment, is really dumped hard, or whether it's super bullish, just something that you can use to get an overall view of these coins and look for opportunities that are maybe being hidden, that are being forgotten about, and that people aren't really being talked about. Because at the moment, a lot of people invest in coins when people are talking about them on Twitter and on YouTube. So they're buying into the hype. And as you've probably seen in the crypto world, a lot of people, especially in the retail sector, are like sheep and they just follow. And that's why these influencers can pump and dump these coins so hard. But when we get downturns like we've had in the past few days, even influencers have very little power over that. So it's very important to have a strategy to find coins that have huge potential growth, regardless of not whether they get pumped on YouTube or Twitter. But hopefully they'll pump because they're at a very low point now against their real overall value, and that's what we're looking for. So let's jump into this. Before we do, if you're not already following me on Twitter, make sure you follow me at Darren the Degen. I'm on there every day posting tweets, and that's the best place to interact with me, guys. I always say post a comment below, but the comments normally get flooded with crypto spam bots. So if you want to talk to me, follow me on Twitter, and that is the best place to interact with me. So this strategy can work for pretty much any of the ecosystems. Now, there are a few that I want to focus on in this video, as these are the ones that have been hyped the most over the past few months. And this is where I think there are opportunities, because they've had the hype and then that hype has died down, and a lot of the coins in that ecosystem, or the tokens within that ecosystem, have really gone down. And I think they've got huge potential for future growth once the narrative moves back towards these ecosystems and they start pushing on again. So up first, and before you unsubscribe, we're going to be looking at Cadano. Now, Cadano, let's be honest, is the whipping boy of the retail world. Everyone likes to make fun of Cadano for not having smart contracts, not having many apps, and it just generally gets mocked on YouTube and Twitter a lot. And that does create a lot of negative sentiment towards Cadano. But you guys have to remember, yes, retail will move the market, but it's the big investors, it's the whales, it's the institutions where the real big money come from. And they look quite fondly of Cadano. So if we just take Cadano just very briefly as the actual overview, you can see here at the moment, we're trading back in quite a low range, historically speaking, over the past year or so. So actually, this is potentially a very good buy zone for ADA. As you can see what happened. The reason I wanted to cover Cadano first is this was probably the first coin that I really followed in detail as it pumped. So from the middle of July all the way up to the end of August into early September this year, this is when they actually launched smart contracts on Cadano. This was very much a kind of buy the rumor, sell the news event, as everyone likes to call it. And since then, it's been dumping. It's been dumping quite hard, all the way from over $3 at its peak to $1.29 at the moment. So just Cadano on its own is probably a reasonable investment. But this video is not so much about Cadano, but more so about the projects on the ecosystem. And we're going to be looking at more than just Cadano. We're going to be looking at Solana and AVAX as well shortly. But let's start with this one. So for those of you that think Cadano is dead, this is the blockchain activity over the past 30 days. So this was the most recent one I could find from November. Cadano was in third position, but you'll notice actually it's still above Solana and Ethereum. So it's getting lots of activity from a developer perspective. Now, the reason that Cadano is so far down at the moment is there's a lot of development activity going on, but most of it hasn't launched. So there should be big opportunities as we move into 2022 when a lot of these applications do start launching. So keep that in the back of your mind. Try and put the retail sentiment to one side and see the bigger picture, to see that this blockchain has been in development for many, many years, and there's probably going to be huge investment flooding into this and lots of opportunities as we go into next year. So this is the strategy that I want you guys to use for any of the blockchains that you are interested in. So if we take, for example, Cadano, if you click onto Cadano on CoinGecko or whichever website you use, and then click into the ecosystem projects, this for me is where the best opportunities are. So within here, you'll see the applications that are currently live on the network. And these would have all had a good pump in September time, about the same sort of time that Cadano pumped. But since then, they've kind of fallen into the background and become these forgotten gems that could very easily pump back up to where they were and more likely surpass that as well. So you can go through this list and do your own research. The ones that jump out for me are Coty. So again, you can click into this and this will have a link directly to their website so you can find out all about it. So you can do this for any of the coins. So for example, Coty, if we go down, they are offering Coty Pay, white label payment networks, stable coins, and loyalty networks. They're offering lots of really good features. And if you do your own research, you'll see it's quite a promising project. But if we go back to CoinGecko and look at the price chart, if we do the 180-day view, you can see it had that lovely pump in September, and then it's been coming down ever since. So all the way up from, what's it, the peak? The peak there, 65 cents pretty much. And we're down at 32 cents. So this one's at pretty much a half price discount at the moment. And I'm confident this will do very, very well next year. And if we go back to the other ecosystem projects, this is the one that's really interested me at the moment because the market cap is tiny. And that is CardStarter, which is, I think it's basically a launch pad for on the Cadano network. So people that are looking to launch projects on Cadano need the launch pad, and CardStarter could be very, very interesting. And when we look at the chart, the 180-day view, this is down from $32 at its peak, and at the moment we're trading at just under $6, so massively down. And to be honest, I'm very tempted to add some of this to my portfolio over the next few weeks because I think this will do well as we move into 2022. So like I say, you can apply this to pretty much any ecosystem. So ADA come first, but the other thing that pumped around that sort of time was Solana. So if we go to Solana and we look at the kind of the 180-day view, we'll see here Solana started pumping mid-August and kept pumping all the way through. And we're starting to have a bit of a pullback at the moment. But a lot of the ecosystem projects pumped early on, but didn't keep going. So if we go to the Solana ecosystem projects with the link there on the right-hand side, and we can look through some of these. Now you have got some of the big players which are multi-chain, like Chainlink and the Graph. But what I'm more interested in is some of the smaller plays. So the first one that jumped out to me is Audius. So Audius is, I think they're basically trying to be the Spotify of the blockchain world. So good potential here, nearly $1 billion market cap. So not the smallest at the moment, but let's take a look at the 180-day view. We're down from an all-time high of around $3.30, and in the recent dump we're at $1.60. So over half price at the moment, and I think this has good long-term potential. Let's go back to some of the other ones. Radium, which is the main DEX on Solana at the moment and would be my bet to remain the main DEX on Solana. Now this is currently at $8.31 and has a market cap of 645 million, which sounds a lot of money, but in the scheme of crypto, it isn't actually that big. And again, if we look at the 180-day view, from a high of over $16 at the moment, we're down $8. So again, half price. But what's more interested with Radium, if you do a comparison of that market cap here at 645 million and compare that to, for example, Uniswap, which is the main DEX for Ethereum, you can see this has a market cap of 7 billion. So pretty much a 10x from where we are with Radium at the moment. And then you also have PancakeSwap, which is the main DEX for Binance. And that has a market cap of just under 3 billion. So, you know, quite a lot larger currently than Radium is. Now, if you have faith that Solana is going to really challenge Ethereum and Binance, then there's every chance the main DEX on that blockchain is going to do the same as well. So I think Radium is a great buy. Now, there's one final one I want to show you on Solana called Sabre. Now, Sabre has a tiny market cap at the moment, and this did get quite a bit of hype a few months ago. It really did. I've seen it mentioned in quite a few places. And if we bring up their website, let's just quickly see what they do. Sabre is the leading cross-chain stablecoin and wrapped assets exchange on Solana. So if that's the leading one, and it currently only has a market cap of 18 million. Let's take a look at the chart and see where we've come from. This has been as high as 80 cents, and we're currently down at 5 cents. Now, these could, of course, go to zero, but I don't think they will, and I think Solana is going to do really well, and I think everything on the Solana ecosystem will do well as well. So this is how I'm finding some of these coins. I'm looking at ones that have done well historically, a part of promising ecosystems which I think are going to do well next year, and then potentially invest in. But like I say, I'm not encouraging you to get into any of these coins. I'm not saying any of these coins are going to blow up, but I think there's more chance a coin is going to get back to previous all-time highs than a brand new coin that you're going to try and time, the IDO to get in at a good point that's hopefully going to blow up. I think that's a higher risk strategy than this, where you've got proven history showing these coins have been here before, which from a price action perspective and technical analysis means there's much more likelihood that it will get back there when these ecosystems start to recover and people start paying attention to these smaller coins. So there's one final coin I want to look at, and this is on the Avalanche ecosystem. So the narrative this year over the past kind of 4 or 5 months has gone Cadano, Solana, AVAX. We were just starting to look at Phantom before everything kind of crashed. But AVAX has been the one that's been moving really strongly most recently. And if we look at the 180-day view, you can see this started picking up around about the end of September. It really started moving, or actually gone more early October. We then flew up and set an all-time high, and we are pulling back here now. So AVAX could be a potential one that's worth getting involved with, giving it a bit more time to retrace a little bit further. But what's more interesting on AVAX is a coin that I've been waiting to get into for ages, and that is Joe. This is the leading DEX on AVAX, just as much as Radium is the leading DEX on Solana. So Joe at the moment, if we go down, is at $1.89, and on the long-term view, you can see it's been as high as over $4, $4.61 there at the peak, and we've just dropped under $2. And again, a market cap of 250 million compared to the multiple billions that I showed you with Uniswap and PancakeSwap. So that is a strategy that I'm using at the moment, and I think you guys might find some success looking through the ecosystems for projects that have done well in the past, and also compare them to what equivalent projects have done on leading platforms already. So for example, with the DEXs, see how DEXs have performed on Ethereum and Binance. And then if you believe in an ecosystem like Avalanche, or you believe in an ecosystem like Cadano, or you believe in something like Solana, and you think they're going to get to that size, then invest in the ecosystem as well. And hopefully you'll see some good returns. So hopefully you guys have found that useful. If you're not sure how to buy altcoins, I'm going to pop up a video in front of me. Actually, I'll pop up two. One will show you how to buy Bitcoin, and that will also show you how to actually get money into the crypto world in the first place. The other video will show you how to buy altcoins. There's various steps that you need to jump through. If you're not following me on Twitter, remember to follow me at Darren the Degen. And if you want to see more from me, make sure you like the video. That'd be very much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.